I'm Jamie, aka Scumboy.
I'm Andrew Walsh, aka Bat Phantom.
I'm Kevin, aka Neon Nazgul from the Operation Bug Podcast.
A proud member of the Gonna Geek Network.
Just like the show you're listening to now.
The opinions expressed are those of each individual host.
Check out all the podcasts at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.
And get ready because geekiness begins in 3, 2,
1.
Stand by for a brand new episode of All Things Good and Nerdy.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode, I think this is 307 of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast, recorded live on April 15th, 2018. It's the day before your taxes are due if you live in the United States. So, good luck, you poor bastards, if you haven't done your taxes yet.
No, smart people don't file taxes.
No. You don't file your taxes until the day they're due if you owe money. Otherwise, you get it back as soon as possible because no one likes giving the government an interest-free loan.
I spent my tax money in February.
I didn't get my money until this month.
It's actually, if you do your taxes right, you shouldn't get anything back and you shouldn't have to pay anything. You want the smallest refund as possible because that means you didn't give your money anything on a loan.
Yes, but the problem is, Naki, I can't predict what the stock market's going to do, so capital gains hurt. Or help, depending on the year.
Depending on the year, it could go either way.
Yes.
Wait, Chris is complaining about his capital gains again. Goddamn 1%er.
Yeah, I'm not a 1%er.
Since I've never had to file capital gains, I don't know what your highfalutin ass is talking about.
Look, I just take X% of my paycheck each pay period, and it goes directly into investments. That's all. Yeah, I never even see it in my bank account. That way it doesn't hurt me, and I don't feel like I should have spent it. Or see it in there and then see it pop out. I never see it come in. Problem solved.
That's the way to do it.
That's how I do all of my savings accounts, where it's just like this percentage goes here, this percentage goes here, this percentage goes here, and now my paycheck is barely anything.
You know what I mean? There is that, but it pays off in the future for whatever it is you're saving for.
It's true, because then I get that little notification where I've hit my savings goal, and then I'm like, sweet, I'm gonna go buy a new pair of shoes. Or a trip to China, which was the case.
Naki, did those shoes have wheels in them?
No, they don't make them in my size. Or if they do, they never have them in my size because I apparently have a really common shoe size, so they're always sold out.
That's a bummer. I was really hoping you were getting Heelys and just like skating around everywhere.
As a tiny person on Heelys, somebody would probably accuse me of being a thief, I'm sure. But something would happen.
Those things hurt. If you weigh more than a 10-pound child.
I've never tried them. They never have them.
No, they don't make them in giant-sized feet.
Yeah, I found one store that had them in giant-sized feet, or close to it. I think like it was a half size too small for my foot. Was the biggest size they had. But I tried them on anyways. And yeah, you're basically putting all of your body weight on a spot on your heel this big. It fucking hurts. They're made for children.
I'm a child at heart. Does that mean I can do it?
No. Same reason I can't have goddamn Spider-Man tennis shoes. They only put them out in kid sizes. Stupid fucking companies.
No. I've seen them before. They're made like Converse brand or whatever, but they've done like DC and Marvel and Star Wars ones in adult size.
Yeah, the Converse ones, that's different. That's just them painting canvas. I want the kid shoes with like the light up heels and the spider web fucking shoelaces. I want the Spider-Man shoes. Damn it.
Yeah, well, I want the light up shoes. Like, there's some really cute light up shoes, but they don't make them for adults. They make them for kids. And I'm just like, you know, it'd be great if I could wear those too, because I'm an adult and I can spend the money on it. Thank you.
So I'm jealous of my friend Tressa because she can get stuff in the kids section because she's tiny.
Yeah, my friend is like that too, where her size shoe is actually it's just a large child size, so she can basically get any shoe she wants, and she can get them really cheap because they're kids' shoes. I'm like, that's some bullshit right there. Like, I'm gonna cut my feet in half, and then maybe I could fit.
So Naki, I found you light up shoes for adults.
Really?
They are LEDs with 6-hour battery life. I guess they're rechargeable. If you go to hoverkicks.com, evidently that is where you can get light up shoes. They're $40 for high tops or $35 for low tops.
I would get low tops. I don't wear high tops. Hovershoes.com.
Hovershoes.com.
Please hold.
I see everything with hover in the title. I just know is a lie. All these kids running around on their hoverboards. It's just a fucking mechanical skateboard. Some bullshit.
No.
So hovershoes.com doesn't exist.
Hover
anymore.
kicks. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Why did I say hover shoes?
Hover
Because kicks and shoes are the same.
I don't know. We're helping Naki spend money live on the air potentially. This is podcasting history or something. I don't know. It's a shame.
Podcast gold.
It's a shame that Willie's not here to experience it, but he's out this week.
Pretty sure I bought stuff on the while I was. Ooh, there's a sale.
Oh, shiny.
Ooh, a piece of candy.
Basically.
There's a user manual on their website and a tutorial for how to do the shoes.
Holy moly.
It looks like they charge over USB.
Sweet.
So you're going to have to charge your shoes.
It's fine. Whatever. They have the low tops that I like. Oh, no. No, I don't have this kind of money.
They're based out of Manhattan. Takes 2.5 hours to fully charge your shoes.
Well, I'll be there in October. I'll just buy them myself.
Man, I'm looking at getting rid of my cell phone and I have to charge that motherfucker. I don't want to charge shoes. I need more things that need to be plugged in.
Yes, but your shoes won't light up if you don't charge them, so what's the point in buying them?
And my shoes won't light up no matter what.
I mean, we could string some LED lights to them and battery power. That's easy.
This is a glue gun and some Christmas lights.
Yeah, now I'm not sure how much a sign of success this is, Naki. When you go to their page and go to the news articles, the last post is from September 2017. So you might want to get your shoes while you can.
Well, shit. Well, I'm wondering because I know there's a bunch of shops in Chinatown that have them, but I've never looked for like adult sizes. Wonder if they have them.
I don't know. I have faith that you'll get it figured out, though.
Oh, I'll get me some light up shoes.
She's going to get some light up shoes, and Keith's going to be like, damn it, because she's just going to run around the apartment with light up shoes and a cat chasing her then.
Yeah.
I mean, those are like cat toys built into your feet now.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. I think that's the best way of putting it. Interesting. So other than trying to find
Agreed.
light up shoes, how have things been going? Naki, you were at C2E2 last week. Any fun stories for us?
So I was working in the Verve booth. I was escorting people through the art gallery. Ooh la la. Where we had a giant cat bug that was there, as well as a lot of some really cool art done from fans of the Verve network. So there was some Bravest Warrior stuff, some Bee and Puppy Cat stuff. It was pretty cool. And then we had everybody sign the giant Verve logo. And we had a pretty good, like, people weren't drawing penises, which was great. That was my biggest concern, was that there wasn't going to be that there was going to be nothing but dicks. And it really wasn't. Like, people were just excited to sign their names. But then come the end of the night, because C2E2 has a lot of beer in it, there was people taking their own permanent markers and writing butt stuff on it.
Like literally butt stuff or things about butts?
Yeah, it just says butt stuff.
Okay, that's kind of funny, though. I don't understand why that's the thing, but it's kind of funny.
It was really weird. So we just turned it around and we're like, well, the kids don't need to see that. So we'll just turn it around and it'll be fine. Because, I mean, it is cartoon hangover stuff. So, I mean, you get a lot of little kids in there.
You don't want them to learn about butt stuff? Ask their
Not
parents.
through us. Not through us. But I'll be traveling with the Verve crew a little bit. So you'll get to see me at other cons doing Verve stuff and yelling about Verve. Which is pretty great. So I didn't actually know what Verve was. Not gonna lie, getting hired into them.
I've never heard of it.
So basically, they're like the umbrella for Crunchyroll, Funimation, Drama Fever, Cartoon Hangover. There's 13 networks that are on there. So, and you pay $10 a month and you get unlimited access to all of these networks, as opposed to paying for each individual network. Because like Crunchyroll is $6 a month, Funimation is $6 a month. So rather than paying $6 a month for each of these things, you pay $10 a month and you get all of the things. And that's what Verve is. And everybody came in thinking it was virtual reality. So that was fun having to explain that 90.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought, actually. No
It
joke.
did not help that we were right next to the virtual reality booth.
That's because they thought you were virtual reality also.
Well, we had two booths. We had one that was the art gallery. That's the one that I was heading up. And then we actually had a lounge where you could go and charge your phone, sit down, get some free pins. It was great. But that was on the other end of the show floor. So that was fun, running back and forth between the two. But yeah, I did not get to see C2E2 at all. I did across the way from the Verve booth. We had the original animator from SpongeBob, and I got boyfriend a cell for his birthday of Mermaid Man, one of his original drawings. So that was my only purchase other than some drinks, so I could keep yelling about Verve.
I've yet to be to a show that has booze on the floor.
Oh yeah, C2E2 has
a lot.
multiple booths of booze, and we were also sponsored by Monster, so there was a lot of Monster and booze on the floor.
Nice.
That made for something, I'm sure. We had a couple of drunk people like come in and start harassing cosplayers, and we're just like, nope, gotta go, bye. So, but I mean, from what I heard, C2E2 went over pretty well. There was it was a huge one this year. Because in the Verve booth, I had a clicker, just keeping track of how many people we had come in. On Friday, we had a little over 4,000. Like, it was pretty quiet. But Saturday, we had over 9,000.
Wow.
And then on Sunday, we had over 8,000. So it was a pretty big C2E2 this year.
Sure sounds like it. That's awesome.
Yeah, all the artists I follow online that were there said they had a pretty good weekend.
Yeah, and I heard a lot of the people that I know were there, and I felt bad that I didn't get to see them because I really did not leave the booths like at all.
It happens. I mean, you're there to work, not to go and see the cool stuff. If you had a couple minutes to go see something, that's great, but it doesn't pay the bills.
It's true. I was there, like, unless you saw me running to McDonald's so I could stuff my face with a cheeseburger before I ran back. And let me tell you, that was the best purchase I made because it was the cheapest thing that I could eat.
Yes, that's why when I was there a couple of years ago, I ate at McDonald's a lot more than anything else when I was at the con. I was like, this is cheap. The line's a little bit longer, but it's moving.
Yep. Like, they're good at getting you in and out, and it's the cheapest thing you could get there. Because I got a burger on Sunday that wasn't McDonald's, and it was $10.50 for a hamburger.
God damn.
It's just
Yikes.
it was like, we should have gone to McDonald's.
That's the first time in human history someone said that.
Right? But I did play smart with my drinks because there is not a whole lot of options if you don't want to pay like $6 for a bottle of water. So there was a booth that was right next to the Verve Lounge that was a root beer booth. Like, they made their own root beer. And if you bought their mug, and because I was there showing stuff, they gave me free refills all weekend. So I just had to buy the mug, and that was $20. So I bought the mug and I had free refills all weekend. I was just like, and they had seltzer water too. So I was like, well, there you go. Like, I don't even have to drink root beer if I don't want to. And it was a pretty big mug. And they're like, just bring it with you to all the cons. And then if we're there, you get free drinks all weekend. I'm like, fuck yeah. So now I've got a con mug.
Are they going to New York Comic Con so you can get free root beer all weekend?
God, I hope so. It's Wild Bill's. Shit, what's the name? It's Wild Bill's something. But they've got a sarsaparilla and a root beer, and it's really good. Now I gotta find out.
Well, that isn't what I was trying to have happen. I was more just curious to see whether or not you can get more root beer at New York Comic Con. What is that, 2 weeks?
Yeah, it's just Wild Bill's Old Fashioned Soda Pop Company. That's what they're called. Or you could go to wildbillsodas.com, and you could. It's really good. Like, it's real good stuff, so I do recommend it. I saw a lot of cosplayers that were really cool. I was surprised, and I think it's because PAX was the same weekend. I did not see any Doki Doki Literature Club ones. I thought for sure I was going to see at least
I did
one,
too.
but I did not see any. I was super surprised. Did see a lot of Steven Universe ones. Saw a lot of Star versus the Forces of Evil. Saw a lot of Coco.
Yeah,
like a lot of Coco.
That's good. I haven't watched it yet. It's sitting on my DVD shelf, but everyone says it's really good.
I'm told that I'm going to cry, so I have not yet watched it.
Yeah, you're going to cry.
It's Pixar. I come in expecting that.
Basically. Speaking of Pixar, did we all see that the Incredibles 2 trailer came out this weekend?
No.
Week? Yeah, that'll be interesting.
You mean the Fantastic Four trailer?
Yeah. Fantastic Four Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
It looks really good. I think most people really like the original Incredibles, and given that it's been at least 10 years since it came out, we probably have a chance of a good sequel. I'm hoping it's not the Toy Story 2 sequel, because I actually really hated that sequel.
I still say Pixar owes Stan Lee some money.
Well, everybody owes
Damn
Stan
Fantastic Four.
Right now, Stan Lee needs to just get away from his family. Like,
I'm so sad because it's
he's
he's 95 and it's gonna be bad.
I think I called that a while, like 8 years ago, when I met him, his handlers, and his handlers were like, "Get away from him." I'm like,
well, this is a new group of handlers from those ones, is my understanding.
God, he is not surrounded by good
Yeah,
people.
for those that aren't familiar, there are varying claims of elder abuse coming out of people who are taking advantage of Stan Lee since his wife died recently, and he and his daughter have always had a weird relationship, as it was described by the Hollywood Reporter. Yeah, it's not looking good for Stan. And now there's the people in Hollywood and comic industry that are coming out and be like, yeah, this isn't right. Free Stan. It doesn't look good. If you want to find out more, I don't think we're the best group to be talking about it, but you can see Hollywood Reporter had a big expose on it this week. IO9 had an update on it yesterday, where he's coming out and suing his old handlers now, I guess, which is interesting. But yeah, it's
the one good news is that Todd McFarlane went and visited him, and Todd put up a thing on his Instagram where I guess he went and sat and chat with Stan for like half an hour, a couple weeks ago, and he said, he's a 95-year-old man, like it's finally just caught up to him, but like he's actually not doing physically bad. So the people surrounding him, that's a different story. But apparently physically, Stan's still not doing awful. Which 95, like. That's fucking. This is a guy who fought in the World War. Like, goddamn.
Yeah, there was someone that posted a video. I think it was from Silicon Valley Comic Con, of every time someone was handing Stan Lee a comic for him to sign, his handler was telling him how to spell his own name. And I was sitting there, I was like, guys, this is a sign that maybe you shouldn't be dragging him to all these conventions now.
He's 95, but I think after he had his massive heart attack, and then 2 weeks later was at New York Comic Con, was a sign right there where it was like people are literally pulling him like a puppet.
Yeah, I just feel bad for him and the entire situation, and I don't know. Let the guy retire. He's 95. They let him do a few if he really enjoys doing the convention circuit still, make it a little more friendly for it. I mean, by all reports, they sold so many tickets for photos and signatures at Silicon Valley Comic Con. They're like, this would tire out someone who was about half his age, let alone
95.
95, yeah.
Yeah, it's just sad. More than anything, it's just sad.
Yeah,
it's a bummer. Hopefully they're able to iron things out at least a little bit, and Stan Lee gets to retire or something like that. I don't know.
Let the guy take a nap,
He probably needs one. I would need one working at a convention.
Oh man, let me tell you how much I slept every night after working at Verve, and I didn't even have to sign anything. It was just me standing there and yelling.
Yeah.
Oh, conventions are exhausted, and now I know. Yeah, they're exhausted on both sides of the table. Even just sitting at a table all weekend, at a table where I wasn't known at a con, and like nobody was there for me, just signing prints that I'd helped color. Like even that was exhausting after 8 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I don't know how people do it, but more power to them, I guess.
Coffee and water.
It is a very specific skill set.
Coffee, water, and pee breaks.
Pee breaks are important.
Pee breaks are really important.
Which, now I have to decide. Apparently, we're getting a con coming to Boise. And so I have to decide if I'm going to that one or not. Because we're getting a Wizard World.
They're still in business?
Yeah, apparently. And of course, just to screw somebody over, we actually had 3 or 4 years ago, a shady company started something that they were calling the Tree City Con. Because for some goddamn reason, even though we're in the middle of the desert, Boise's called the City of Trees. And for their first year of opening convention, they tried to fill the Expo Center, which is like one of the largest buildings here. It'd be like trying to fill McCormick Place for the first year of a con. It's fucking stupid. And so like they made no money. They had very few people, and there was like check writing scam, like all sorts of bad crap. So that company went away. So last year, a much smaller company of actual geeky fans of things got together and did the Treasure Valley Comic Con, and they did it in the town I grew up in, Nampa, which is a city over from Boise. And they did it in the Civic Center in Nampa, much smaller, and they had like 4,000 attendees, which for a first-year con in a much smaller town, smart idea, and they were going to build up. This would have been their second year, and the weekend that they were planning on doing their convention is when Wizard World is coming.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're taking a year off and hoping that they can come back next year. So yeah, it's a question of how well Wizard World does, because they're coming to Boise and trying to fill one of the larger venues. And apparently we're getting Shatner. Yeah, that's the big draw so far. Shatner and Jason David Frank, because, well, Jason David Frank does cons. That's what he does.
He's all over the place with cons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So should we do actual news of the week, or should we just keep rambling like this? Because I think we're doing a good job with the Ramblecast.
Both. We got a diverse
Live from the ATGN studios on the internet. It's the news of the week.
I couldn't find the damn button. I was on the wrong page of my soundboard.
Press the button, Chris. Press the button, Chris. Press the button, Chris.
I hit the damn button. But guys, news of the week. It's that part of the show where we run down what is the most interesting geeky or nerdy news that we've come across in the past week and share it with you guys who are watching live or listening at a later date. I'll kick it off first because I have two shorter stories, but they're both about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The first one being that James Gunn actually had some pretty decent involvement in Infinity War. Dave Bautista was at the Awesome Con, I think that was not last week, but the week before, and was talking about what all happened in Infinity War, and mentioned that James Gunn actually played a part in the writing process for the movie. He wrote a lot of the dialogue for the Guardians, which makes sense because he's the only person that's ever written the Guardians on the big screen. He also helped write part of the story that involved the Guardians as well. So kind of a cool thing to do. Take the guy who basically made them a household name, because remember, we all had our own doubts about how well Guardians of the Galaxy was going to do, and then it blew up the box office. And say, hey, we want you to make sure we do these characters right.
It should have been a flop.
To be fair, it really should have been, because Guardians, the comic, has sucked.
Well, Guardians of the Galaxy the comic had nothing to do with the random string of characters that he pulled to put together a team. Marvel just gave him a list of cosmic involved characters and said, you can do whatever you want with these guys. The team he put together is not the fucking Guardians of the Galaxy. They are now, but they weren't when that fucking movie came out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's genius, because it makes sense too, because he's the only one that's written them. And then honestly, he probably helped storyline wise just for figuring out where they would be at the end of the movie going into Guardians 3, because he's writing that right now. So he probably had to be there on set with the Russos to say, hey, I need to get my characters at this point A so that my story can take place on B and go forward.
Right. Well, we did know he is credited as an executive producer on Infinity War, so we knew he was involved in some capacity there. But to have him writing the dialogue for his characters makes sense. And from the way the Russos have talked, they worked with Ryan Coogler, Taika Waititi, James Gunn, and the other directors in Phase 3 to say, okay, here's kind of what we want to do. These are the characters you guys have helped us build, so this is what's going on.
Which makes sense.
It does.
And Kevin Feige's just standing back there pulling all the strings.
Yeah, no joke.
You mean just taking his arms and wrapping it around that pile of money that's coming in?
Oh, no arms could go around that pile. Reed Richards' arms could not go around that pile of money that Kevin Feige's pulling in.
What did they say?
Like, oh, yes.
Based off of pre-sale tickets and the early trends, they're looking at like 247 million opening weekend for Infinity War right now.
Jesus.
Yeah, so yeah, Black Panther beat all the records, and then opening day of ticket sales, Avengers beat Black Panther. Like, how the hell? Like, wow.
So I don't remember if I read this article correctly, so it might be wrong, but I think it's true from what I'd read on there. Supposedly, pre-sales for Infinity War have eclipsed the last 7 Marvel movies' ticket pre-sales.
Yeah, it was something like that. It was 7 or 8. Yeah, it blew away everything.
Bear in mind, Black Panther had huge pre-sales, but if Infinity War has more pre-sales than the last 7 Marvel movies combined, that is a huge indicator of just all of the money that Disney's going to make that weekend. And let's be honest, if the movie is even okay, people are going to go and see it more than once.
Got my tickets.
I have my tickets for Thursday night at 7 p.m.
I will probably see it the weekend after.
And then I will go see it again the next weekend and use my Movie Pass for that, because I didn't want to have to deal with having to check in for Movie Pass, so we just pre-bought tickets ahead of time.
Nice.
I really dislike going open and weekend of movies, I've come to realize.
I do too, but here's the thing. I dislike assholes on the internet a lot more, because people are going to spoil the crap out of it. There's a reason why Marvel moved it up to the 27th, so that everyone got it released at roughly the same time. And that's because the internet is full of a-holes who are going to spoil the crap out of this movie. And I don't want to have to mute everything, or better yet, just not go on Twitter for a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay if I don't. I'm really bad at, other than like Instagram, I'm really bad at social media these days, so it's fine. Like, whatever.
My
I'm
Instagram,
always on Twitter, so I'm afraid of getting spoiled.
my Instagram is full of like cat pictures and dog pictures. That's how I Instagram, and food pictures. I don't do selfies.
I do selfies, but I'm all about the cat and dog pictures. Like if you look at my Instagram, what I follow is cats, dogs, and K-pop idols. And then my friends that I actually like care about, and like that's it.
Mine's mostly my friends and cosplayers.
Yeah, I don't even follow any cosplayers, I don't think. I think it's just cats, dogs, and K-pop idols. That's my life.
Chris, I found the article. It's outpacing the last 7 Marvel films. Currently, it's selling more than double the amount of tickets on Fandango that Black Panther had sold at the same point in the sales cycle. And it's currently outpacing the combined Thor Ragnarok, Homecoming, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Civil War, and Black Panther. So all of them together, Avengers is selling more tickets.
Yeah, that's crazy, guys.
Wow.
I'm excited for this movie, just like I think most people are. Although I have hit the point where every time they put out something new, I don't want to see it, because I think we're getting to that point. They're trying not to show us anything good, but I think when you look at everything they put out there combined, you might get too many opinions or too many ideas of what's going on. So I've kind of put myself on a self-imposed lockdown on Marvel content about Infinity War.
I put myself on a self-imposed Disney lockdown because Star Wars, with its saturation a little bit, like all the solo stuff that's coming out, I'm like, you know what? I'm already like not super excited about this movie, but I'm still gonna go see it.
They have only promoted that movie with trailers at this point in time. I'm not sure what they're doing besides just waiting for Infinity War to be out.
I think that's it, but I think also because I get a lot of fan sites in my news feed, so like everybody is like breaking down the trailers, and I'm just like, I don't want you to break it down.
Yeah, I don't watch any of that stuff. Disney did go ahead and have an artist steal somebody's Sony work for the solo posters, though. They did do that.
Good job,
Yeah,
Disney.
good job.
Did you guys see those? The colored posters compared to a series of album covers that somebody did?
No.
I did not
It's
see that.
literally the same exact color scheme and letter font layout. All the multicolored, like where Solo's orange and Lando's yellow, but all those posters where it's single characters. There's literally a series of album covers that were like compilations done in like the mid 90s that some artist did for Sony. It's the exact same layout.
Oh shit.
Like somebody totally just stole somebody else's idea and like, oh yeah, that'll be a great idea for posters.
But I mean, I do give them the benefit of the doubt that maybe somebody just didn't know.
No, if you look at the two next to each other, they knew. They were literally copying it.
No, I mean like, so the graphic designer knew, but that didn't.
Oh,
mean,
that like Disney might have greenlighted it not knowing?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's possible. Whoever designed it, they were straight copping something. Because yeah, they knew they were stealing.
And then I have one last piece of MCU/TV news. This was announced on Empire. Variety, I think, broke it actually this week. I had it from Empire Online. Netflix has officially greenlit a 3rd season of Jessica Jones.
Sweet.
If you didn't watch season 2, it's different than season 1. It's a bit more ensemble than focusing primarily on Jessica. It's still good, but I'm kind of curious what all they're going to do with the season 3, because season 2 took the character, twisted a little bit, and if you've read the comics, it's not very much like the comics what they did, and I'm okay with it. But I'm curious where they go from here.
I haven't seen season 2 yet. I'm doing a great job.
Have they greenlit Daredevil season 3 yet?
Yes, they have. They've already done casting on season 3.
Okay. Because I was like, when did I miss that news? Because I hadn't heard about that one.
I think they're filming now. I'm not 100% sure, or they're about to start. But I think it's supposed to be paralleling the Born Again arc.
Nice.
Yes.
Except that'll make us all hate Karen Page.
There's that, but we'll also get. But they did say, unless I'm just imagining this, that Kingpin's back for season 3.
Yeah, I think he mentioned that on his Twitter. He was talking about being back.
That's better than the hand or the foot or whatever they are.
The foot is Ninja Turtles.
Yes, it's Daredevil. Naki ninjas are never going to be far away. Daredevil has been ninjas since day one. That's just how it is.
We just know how we all just know how I feel. I'm not quiet about it.
You got to have some type of cannon fodder in almost all superhero stories, and for Marvel street level, the hand ninja, that's the best cannon fodder you can get because they're supposedly undead, so you can kill them if you want because they don't count as humans and it won't mess with your MPAA rating. You can just hack up ninjas all day. You never see their faces. So they're not humanized, so it doesn't scare kids.
Wham, wham, wham. Anyway.
It's like when they created bats for G.I. Joe. You can kill all the robots you want. G.I. Joe's accuracy got so much better once there was actual targets they were allowed to shoot.
Who's moving their mic?
Sorry, that was me. I'm trying to adjust to a more comfortable spot. That's my bad. Sorry.
According to Draftsman, as we move on off of my news, Matthew Mercer's line at C2E2 nearly had a casualty. I know when the Legion of fans showed up, they were not prepared, he says. Naki's like, I didn't say any of that crap. I was in my booth.
Wait, who's Matthew Mercer?
Good. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Let's ask the Google.
Wow. See, I at least knew that all the cartoon names that Naki said earlier I didn't know or understand or have heard of, but that's because they're all a bunch of weird cartoon names.
He appears to be a voice actor.
Okay.
Oh, was he? I think he's the guy who voiced in Overwatch. He was McCree.
Oh, he's the prick that I always hear say high noon before I die.
So Draftsman says...
I don't like that guy. I don't like that guy.
Draftsman says voice actor for Critical Role, and Tia versus Gaming says voice actor for McCree, just like you were saying, in Overwatch and a bunch of other games. So video game voice actor.
Whoops.
Some of those are really popular.
Yes.
Okay, so I know who he is because I just Googled him. I know who he is. I found him to be the attractive voice of... Yeah, he's got good face. Anyways.
He doesn't have a face for radio is what you're saying?
Yeah, no, he's got good face.
Not all voice actors have a face for radio.
It's true.
Okay, I do. I recognize him from Critical Role. Okay, I didn't put the name together. My bad.
Yeah.
I've only watched the first episode of Critical Role. I'm like way behind on that.
I don't know what Critical Role is, so I'm doing a great job.
It's like the most popular D&D game that's been televised, and they've done like 600 episodes. Yeah, it's got Ashley Johnson from Blind Spots on it.
You pull up Matthew Mercer's IMDb, he has 291 actor credits. So that might give you an idea of what kind of voice acting he's been doing, i.e. he's in almost everything, and good for him then.
Yeah, dude's been working.
I think he was in the crap, that series that Keith always wants me to play, and I never remember to play it. Yep.
Yeah, he was in the new Thundercats. He did a Resident Evil.
He's the voice of Luke Skywalker in Battlefront 2.
Yeah, I knew there was another huge one. Yeah, he did Luke in the Battlefront. Yeah, he's got a ton of credits.
I can see why his line would be so big then. Yeah.
You would like their Critical Role stuff, Naki, because it's a bunch of like geeky friends in Hollywood that while they were all auditioning for like voice role stuff and just wanted something to kill time, they all got together and started playing D&D, and they started basically putting the videos up on Twitch. And it's just a great group of voice actors playing D&D characters. And so like they get into it.
That sounds lovely, and it might be something that I throw on while I'm working, because I am all of my story podcasts are currently at an end. So
yeah, I think you'll love it. I'm surprised you're not a huge fan of it already.
it's amazing the little box I've worked myself into where I just don't know things anymore.
Yeah,
It's great.
and there's so much stuff.
There's so much stuff out there. It's really hard.
like all the CW shows got renewed except for iZombie, which gets their renewal late. So that just tells me, hey, next year there's another 200 hours I'm going to spend watching superhero shows.
How the hell did Arrow get renewed? I'm sorry.
Because it's awesome.
No, it's really not.
I love it.
The other thing that you could not watch it if you don't want to.
I have to podcast.
No, he can't because he has a podcast about it. And he only likes to lie about one episode at a time, not a whole season.
I only lied about episodes of The Walking. I never lied, actually. In fact, I fully disclosed, just not at that same day, that there were certain episodes we reviewed I never watched.
It's funny because as like the weirder and crazier Arrow gets, the more I like it. Like the new episode where literally he's just on drugs hallucinating for like 80% of the episode. It was fucking fantastic. It was entertaining as hell.
Legends of Tomorrow eats its lunch. It's the best thing of the superhero shows.
Flash is still the best.
Nah,
other than
Legends
that,
of Tomorrow is so much
other than
better.
that Fiddler episode. That Fiddler episode had the biggest story gap I've ever seen them do on Flash. I was so angry.
I haven't watched the last 10 episodes of Flash. I'm just going to wait until it's on Netflix and catch up then. I've decided.
Flash is still my favorite, but yeah, Legends is definitely a close second. Their final throwdown this year was awesome.
Bebo's the best. That's what it comes down to.
No, I'm talking about the triple army of fucking what was it? Roman soldiers, pirates, and what was the third
Julius
one?
Caesar's army.
It's 3 armies all attacking in a Midwest town, and I love that it's always the one. There's one set of a country town, and every time they go into the like 1800s, it's the same set.
No. That's on purpose. They go to that town because it's hard to observe in time or something like that. Rip Hunter set that up in season 1.
That's why I love it, because they're like, no, we need to use this one set over and over again. We can't keep building a new town every time we go back in time. It's genius. Yeah. And it's the same town the Supernatural boys went to in like season 2.
The interesting thing, though, is, and then I'll go off my soapbox, is Legends Tomorrow made Damien Dark enjoyable after Arrow ruined him.
They did a really good job with Neil McDonough, because like he was one of those characters who was kind of annoying, and yeah, they really like fleshed him out. I really enjoyed him this season on Legends. Like he was great.
So Naki,
he's one of those people. He's great at being a villain. He's so good at it.
Naki, I know you don't care about this stuff, so why don't you tell us about something you do care about?
Oh yay! So, I have mixed feelings about the animated Mulan movie. Because it was done by an all-white cast mostly, and I think it was like 98% white cast.
Was it? Isn't Eddie Murphy in that one?
Yeah, Eddie Murphy's in it. So like,
so the person of color in Mulan was Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, it was like, so I've got some mixed feelings on it, but it did come with the best Disney song of "I'll Make a Man Out of You," so I've got some feelings about the animated Mulan movie, but. There was casting news about the live-action Mulan movie this week, which I am super interested in now because they cast 3 of my favorite Chinese actors in it. So Jet Li, Gong Li, and Donnie Yen have all been cast into the live-action Mulan movie, which means that they're putting Chinese actors into a Chinese movie, which is really exciting.
What?
I know. It's crazy. There's actually, so far that I know of, there's only one person of East Asian origin who's not actually Chinese, and I believe one of them is from Vietnam. She's half Chinese, half Vietnamese. Sorry, take that back. So it looks like everybody is at least Chinese, and they're not doing the thing where they're like, all Asian people look the same, so we're just going to cast all Asian people but not actually differentiate between the Asians. So that to me is really interesting. I'm really excited to see that. First off, that my 3 favorites are in it, but on top of that, to see what they do, because they are definitely going away from the animated route because they're not doing the Huns. So I'm really curious to see what Gong Li will be playing an evil witch. She will not be playing. She's the villain. So
wasn't the whole point of Mulan was that they were fighting the Huns over the Great Wall?
No, that's just the animated version.
That's that in the animated version.
Yeah, in the animated version, yeah, but that's not the story of Mulan.
They're doing a totally different story.
They're doing it sounds like they might be doing like the actual story of Mulan as opposed to the Disney-fied version story of Mulan.
So I don't get a dragon?
No.
Oh.
We don't get a miniature dragon named Mushu?
Yeah, racist.
What? Now you're gonna act like there's a problem with Disney movies? Come on, Naki.
But yeah, so that's super exciting to me. That was my news of the week because I fucking love Jet Li and Gong Li. Gong Li is so gorgeous. She's just so fabulous. I'm so excited to see her in it. And then Donnie Yen, obviously, I've gushed about so much. But Jet Li was one of the ones that I like grew up with, type thing. I saw so many Jet Li movies when I was a kid, and so he is slated to play the Emperor, and so I'm really excited to see where this goes. I hope that they keep the appropriation, to the minimum. I'm really excited. Like Donnie Yen had written an article earlier this year, and I know I talked about it when it came out, about how he wants to see more Asians in Hollywood and how we deserve roles too. And from what it seems like, there's been not like a boom, but there's definitely been more of a presence the past couple of months that I'm seeing, and I'm really excited for that. So that's what I care about, and that's what I was talking about today. So I did it, guys. Nailed it.
Indeed. I was trying to remember what I knew Gong Li from. Yeah, Memoirs of the Geisha, and then she was one of the chicks in Miami Vice. The crazy one with Jamie Foxx.
Mm-hmm.
Colin Farrell, Jamie Foxx won that one.
Yeah.
Yep.
As I knew her, but I couldn't remember what I'd seen her in. And yeah, I was like, oh, I remember her from Miami Vice.
She's fabulous. I love her. But yeah, totally. If you have not seen anything from any of those people, Donnie Yen, the one that I always say is Ip Man. That was my first Donnie Yen movie was Ip Man, but he does have others. Jet Li, Hero is the most popular one, I want to say. But he's got so many too. One of his big Hollywood roles was the Romeo Must Die with DMX.
Yeah, he did like 3 movies opposite DMX in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, the biggest one being Romeo Must Die, because Aaliyah was in that one too.
And then he was the one.
He was the one. He's gone in and out of retirement so many times. He's kind of like Jackie Chan in that sense, which somebody earlier this week, or was it last week? I don't know. These weeks all kind of run together. Somebody posted all of Jackie Chan's injuries with his...
Oh, why would you do that?
With the actual video of each injury happening. Oh my God, that man has broken himself so many times.
Was that like a 3-hour movie?
It was so long.
Yeah, that dude's had a lot of injuries. So yeah, for those that don't know, I think The Foreigner is the first movie that Jackie Chan didn't do all of his own stunts in.
He's finally admitting that he needs to stop doing his own stunts because he's broken his left shoulder. He's broken at least 6 times. So
yeah, he has an injury list like a hockey team.
It's ridiculous. And also, if you're interested and you want to find out, definitely check out that whole compilation of Jackie Chan hurting himself. There's one where
I don't want to watch that.
There was one where everybody thought he had died because he fell from 3, like the stunt was to fall through 3 stories, but he landed wrong. He landed on his neck. He had a concussion and he had broken like shoulder, collarbone, and like part of it, like something in his neck broke. Not to a point where he was paralyzed, obviously, or anything like that. But then he didn't like the take, so he did it 2 more times.
Now that sounds like Jackie Chan.
And I was like,
I still can't believe the accident B-roll on Rumble in the Bronx, where he jumped building to building from the garage to the apartment complex multiple times. He did all sorts of crazy shit. When he broke his ankle, was literally jumping from one platform down 2 feet to another platform. He broke his ankle, put a cast on it, and then had a piece of rubber painted to look like a tennis shoe, put that over his cast and went back to work.
That's crazy.
Motherfucker's crazy.
There's one where he got caught in between a truck and a wall and he smashed up his leg.
Oh yeah.
And I was
he's been caught between vehicles and buildings before.
And a helicopter in a building, and I was just like, okay, Chinese grandpa, stop this. Like,
but honestly, have either of you guys watched The Foreigner yet?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that movie because it literally is like the first time where he's saying, yeah, I'm old and beat up. Like, I'm going to move a little slower. And so it was awesome to kind of actually see him as he's getting injured in the film, like actually not act like a superhuman.
So the thing with the Foreigner that threw me off, because I was really excited for the Foreigner, was that it wasn't a Jackie Chan movie.
Yeah, it's definitely it's not what we think of as a Jackie Chan movie. It just happened to be an awesome like terrorist movie that had Jackie Chan in it, which was really cool.
Yeah, it was a really good movie. Like, it wasn't what I expected, but it was something that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I think that was one where they made the trailer. Nobody knew the movie they were getting off of the trailers.
Yeah, no. Which is great. That's what I wanted. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was so good. I was super excited when I saw that finally. I don't believe it's on Netflix, Keith. I don't think it's there yet.
That was me. It was on Netflix.
It was on Netflix? Oh.
Yeah. I don't know if it still is, but it was because we were watching it.
All of my sites I use for tracking where things are streaming don't seem to work anymore.
Can I stream it.com's not working?
It wasn't, no. Can I stream.it wasn't either.
My problem is I can't spell foreigner.
F-O-R.
It's the E and the I always get me. Okay, it looks like they took it off of Instant right now, so it's not there currently.
Well, there's a bunch of it on Daily Motion, it would appear, which is probably illegal, but hey, illegally uploaded rather, but I'm seeing full episodes on Daily Motion when I do a Google search. It appears to also be on Hulu.
There you go.
I was weirdly not a fan of Jackie Chan Adventure, and I don't know why.
Really? Jeff Matsuda, one of my favorite comic book artists, he got to completely design that entire show. I loved that show.
I have no idea why I didn't like it, and I still can't tell you why. Like, as a kid, I was like, I don't like this show.
Yeah, Jackie got to do the voice of Jackie and the old guy, and then there was like a kick-ass little girl, crazy-ass ninjas. Like, that was a fun show.
I don't. Yeah, like everything that's about it like sells to child Naki. Like, I don't know why.
It was like Jackie Chan Indiana Jones.
Right, but I loved the young Indiana Jones. I watched the crap out of that.
But you still didn't like the Jackie Chan Adventures, huh?
Right. I don't know what it was. When I was a kid, I was just like, no, I don't like this. Meow. And maybe it's because I got picked on a lot for liking like Power Rangers and stuff like that. Power Rangers, Ninja Turtles. So maybe that was why. Because I was like, maybe if I don't like this one thing that's actually really cool, somebody will like me one day. Maybe I'll have friends, guys.
Oh, you see how that turned out.
It's true.
Damn.
I'm so alone.
You got Boris the Cat and Waggle Crotch.
While we let Naki recover from that sick burn, let's go over to Anthony for his news of the week.
It wasn't meant to be a sick burn. It was just supposed to be funny. Sorry. Okay. My news is sort of non-news, but it should lead to a good discussion because what we had was the Disney Fox deal is set to close now by summer 2019. It's basically all been up in the air. Everybody's been wondering whether or not they're going to lock shit down and get it finished. And the head of Fox had a Fox town hall meeting where they basically sat down and told basically, hey, these people need to do this and these people need to do this and all this stuff has to be done before X date. And they started actually nailing stuff down of what needs to be done so that all the transactions of the IPs and everything going over to Disney can happen. And then the companies that are staying Fox can remain Fox. And, whoever needs new offices or figureheads or new names or whatever bullshit. So they can become what some people are calling it Diet Fox, or people calling it New Fox. More than likely, the new company is actually just going to be called Fox instead of 20th Century Fox. So that way they don't have to worry about changing the logo on everything they own. But yeah, so it is happening. It is scheduled to be all done by the end of summer 2019, which means that basically Phase 5 Marvel in the MCU can include everyone. So I got two questions for you guys. One, if they have it all done by the end of the fourth Avengers film, what do you think they need to start storyline-wise in the MCU going forward once everybody's there? And two, after this was inked, is when they reshot a cameo in Deadpool that they're keeping under wraps. Who do you guys think the cameo is?
So with the MCU stuff, I don't know. I'm so torn on the MCU right now because I'm starting to feel the burnout where I just feel like it's so much and I'm overwhelmed by it. It's kind of like the Star Wars feeling where I'm feeling oversaturated again. It's just so much, and that's why I don't watch the DC shows. It's why I'm not as excited for Infinity War. Like, I'm still excited because I really want to see what they do with Black Panther and Thor. Like, those are the two things that I'm interested in is Black Panther and Thor.
Naki only likes kings, apparently.
Can you blame me? Have you seen those two kings? Oh my god. So like so there's that. So I don't know where it should go because I'm so just like overwhelmed by it at this point. As for the Domino, God, Deadpool cameo, I'm wondering if they would go the route of with the mouth and, you know, start bringing in all the other Deadpools.
Oh, like Lady Deadpool and Dog Deadpool and all that shit?
Right.
Deadpool? Oh, that's crazy.
I'm wondering if they would go that route because I mean, Merc with the Mouth is the most famous of the Deadpool storylines.
Interesting.
So, I'm wondering if they would do something like that.
That would be a really weird fucking movie.
It would. It would be a really weird fucking movie, but that is not. I would also not put it past them.
Oh no, yeah, not now that they've done Deadpool twice.
Yeah,
might as well take a risk.
So that's my thoughts there. Like I don't know where to go with the MCU at this point, but that's where I'm at with Deadpool, where I'm like, I wonder if they're actually gonna go real Deadpool and go Merc with the Mouth, and like secretly they're casting for like Lady Deadpool, Dogpool, Headpool, you know.
No.
If we get a Headpool on screen, I will die, because that's beyond insane.
I mean, they really could just use Ryan Reynolds' voice with the CGI, but
I know, but just the idea of putting a head in a box on screen as a character, like that's insane.
I'm really hoping it's just Hugh Jackman or Patrick Stewart.
That's what I'm thinking. Is they actually got Hugh Jackman to do the one last cameo that he said he would come back and do if they were merging the universes, but they use it somehow as the Deadpool cameo.
Okay, so I went out of the box then, apparently.
Yep. Well, I mean, it's one of those things where, like, there's so much they could do with it. Like, it would be awesome to see a cameo where something that, because of the Cable storyline, and, you know, so you got Cable involved, so you have time travel involved, so you got the X-Men involved. Like, they could do any of that, and, like, it somehow connects to, like, you know, Fury in the 90s heading into, you know, the Captain Marvel storyline. Like, it's insane what they could do with one little cameo in Deadpool for help to, like, start mixing all the movies universes together. So yeah, like it's nuts just the different options they have. But I think when it comes down to it, it's going to be Reynolds and Hugh Jackman going, yeah, we'll finally give them what they want.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get anything in the Fox movies about the mixing of the universes until the deal's actually done.
Right.
Until it's done.
Until it's actually done. I think your quickest chance, if they're looking at 2019, Avengers Infinity War 2, or whatever they're going to call it, because the Russos won't tell us the title because it's a spoiler for this movie, is the chance where you could do it, because you've got all the gems in place, and it could be when they reshape the universe to undo whatever gets done or to fix things. It causes things to happen where you have the Fantastic Four and the X-Men and things like that somehow come into play. Who knows?
Yeah, see, the opportunities are insane. But going into Phase 5, Chris, what do you think they're going to do with the option now that they have everybody?
They probably haven't planned it all out yet because it's not all in place. So I still think Phase 5, you're looking at like Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange being the new Tony Stark to be the glue they use and everything. Because they made a point of saying he plays a big role in Infinity War, and that Benedict Cumberbatch is the only actor that has seen the full script to Infinity War. None of the other actors got the full script because Doctor Strange is involved in all sorts of things. He made a quote about something about multiverses, supposedly. Who knows? But Doctor
Huh.
Strange is at the center of things.
That does actually make sense, considering Doctor Strange is the only one who could really like teleport himself everywhere.
Well, and control time.
And control time. Yeah. So yeah, I like it because someone on what was it? I think it was Douglas Movies. They were talking about the fact that you get Peter and Strange are basically integral to the storyline. You get those two hopping around with the time gem. They go back in time to try to fix somebody, and then when they come back, the post-credit scene of Avengers is the Avengers Tower is no longer Avengers Tower. It's got a big 4 on it, which would be awesome. But I think that's jumping the gun a little bit.
Yeah,
I don't think they're quite there yet.
That's probably too much of a jump. But that'd be really cool.
Actually, I think it'd be cool if they actually had the balls to do like a battle world type thing.
That could be interesting. I mean, one other thing to keep in mind when it comes to Doctor Strange, too, is one of the writers of the script was C. Robert Cargill, who's fairly active on Twitter, and someone had asked him, how long was Doctor Strange confronting Dormammu to bring his bargain? And he said, well, it wasn't just like 4 takes, he goes, but it wasn't multiple years, but he goes, it was enough time for him to become more skilled. So the Doctor Strange we see at the end of the movie has evolved over all of the amount of time it took for him to bargain with Dormammu. He's learned more about magic and tried different things. So Strange is not just a novice magician, or sorcerer anymore.
So every time Dormammu was trying to kill him, he was actually trying different magic stuff and learning.
That was the implication. So, and if you think about it, it kind of ties into what you saw in Thor Ragnarok, where he's pulling off magic we never saw before.
Oh yeah.
That's what I was thinking. Is like, well, you can kind of tell with Thor, like in Ragnarok, where you see him just kind of like whooshing and making Thor sick, which is great.
It is pretty great. So they could go anywhere with Infinity War. I don't think we're going to get anything in any of the current Fox movies that indicates this crossover, and the soonest we'd get it in the Marvel ones is Infinity War 2. And we might not even get this X-Men Phoenix movie because now it got pushed back to 2019.
I'll be honest. I know some people are excited, but I don't need another Phoenix story. I'm sick and tired of watching Jean Grey die.
Yeah, I'm about with you.
If they did a Phoenix story right, I would be interested.
Well, they can't because they'll never introduce the full Shi'ar battle on the moon. And honestly, I'm sorry, but I was not that interested in the new kids that were the X-Men in the last X-Men movie anyways.
Yeah, same here. But
I love Sansa in Game of Thrones, but yeah, I could care less about her Jean Grey. Like, I was like, wow, you're bland as Scott Summers. Like, whoop-de-doo. Like, she was boring.
That's fair. That's fair. But that is going to wrap up our news of the week. As we wrap that up, it's a good time for us to remind you guys who are watching live or listening later that we are, in fact, part of a network of shows that you can find over at GonnaGeek.com. There's 25 plus different shows in the network that cover a variety of geeky topics. We have things like Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. that recaps and discusses Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the greater MCU. We have other things that are more broadly focused on general geek culture or tabletop gaming. There's all sorts of stuff there, and I can't very well run down all 25 plus shows on the network, but what I can do is give you a little tease of another show on the network and say, hey, you guys might want to check this one out. And this is episode 57 of the Operation Pug podcast, entitled The Big Announcement Cast. An exciting announcement from Operation Pug, plus video games, movies, and why phasers are the cruelest weapons of all. So you can go check that out at the Operation Pug podcast. Find them over at GonnaGeek.com. But looking at the time, it is time for us to start wrapping things up. We wrap things up each week with a little bit called What I'm Into. It's our chance to share with you guys who are watching live or listening at a later date just what kind of geeky and nerdy things we've been getting into, so that maybe you'll want to go check them out for yourselves. So Naki, what have you been getting into?
I was furiously scrambling to the show notes because I didn't know if I was going to have to read that, and I was like, shit!
I took the hit.
Look at Chris being all nice.
So what I'm into, I just finished watching season 2 of Himoto Urumo-chan. Totally.
Naki's just making up words again.
Yeah, I am. I'm doing a great job. Totally recommend checking out that series if you have not. For those of you who like anime, it is totally adorable, and I'm secretly Urumo. On top of that, I've been practicing more Korean, which I'm still not very good at, but that's cool. Been planning multiple things that I can't talk about until after next week, so you'll get to hear about that. Other than that, you heard me talk about C2E2 and working with Verve. I will Oh, and I finished my office, but unfortunately my computer just doesn't read microphones anymore. So that's cool. That's why I am in tiny office of boyfriend's, working off of his computer because my computer decided to not read USB ports. And so here I am. But my office is now finished and will be a fully functioning studio for me to work out of soon, which I'm super excited for.
Ooh, fancy.
That only took a year of me living here, year and a half of me living here. Then on top of that, I've been working a lot and doing my best to stay on top of things, but sometimes things fall through the cracks. And sorry, guys, my bad. I wasn't here last week.
It's part of adulting. It's no big deal.
Adulting is dumb. Let me just throw that out there.
Yeah, but we have to do it.
It is. It's just something that you have to do. Enjoy being a child while you can. And that's really it. Oh, what did I finish reading this week? So I've been reading. This is not going to be super interesting to most people, I'm pretty sure. Because I am working hard on getting control of my personal finances, I've been reading a lot about personal finances. And so I read The Science of Getting Rich, You're a Badass at Making Money, and You Are a Badass. The last two being by Jensen Chero, and The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. He has a very unfortunate name, but it's from 1911. It's really, while I don't agree with all of it, it is a very interesting thing if you're interested in personal finances. All three of those are recommendations. Other than that, of the science fiction side of things, I've been reading. Oh God, I lost my phone. This is my wallet and not my phone. So just kidding. I can't tell you what I'm reading because I can't remember the name of the author, and I don't want to steer you wrong. It's a John Scalzi book. I don't want to steer you wrong. So there you go. Got that. That's what I got. Yay. Did it. Nailed it.
Congratulations. Naki, I'll go next with what I've been getting into because I've been busy with work and a bunch of other stuff, so I'm behind on most of my TV shows that I normally watch. But what I did get done is yesterday I watched the Andre the Giant documentary that they did on HBO. Very good, about an hour and a half long if I remember correctly. And it's not supremely WWF wrestling focused. They get into that, of course, but it's a lot more about the story of Andre the man and not as much about Andre the wrestler until you get near the end. But some of the cool stuff out of that is the infamous match between him and Hogan at WrestleMania 3 in the Silverdome. Hogan didn't know he was going to win until he's in the ring, and Andre's basically telling him what to do to wrap up the match. It's pretty cool to see, and pretty sad also to see how much Andre declined at the end of his life and how he could have actually gotten treatment but didn't want to because his gimmick was being Andre the Giant. It was the gift that God gave him in his own words. So he didn't get it treated. It's very surprising to me, but really good documentary. It's in the same vein as the 30 for 30 sports documentaries that they do on ESPN, probably because Bill Simmons is one of the producers on the Andre the Giant documentary. But if you grew up watching Andre the Giant or you have an appreciation for Andre the Giant from Princess Bride or any of his other appearances, it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool documentary. Go check it out on HBO. I had to adult a little bit yesterday, and I tore up a good chunk of my front lawn, aerated the soil, put down grass seed and stuff to hold it in place. Then came inside and saw we were under a flash flood watch tonight and went, well, shit, all my grass seed I put down while I was adulting is going to just watch it.
Oh no, that sounds awful.
Yeah, that's no help.
I think I'll be able to keep a decent amount of it, but I have enough to go and spot treat it later and re-add things into place. But I was like, ah, son of a bitch.
Well, if that makes you feel any better, I was going to go plant all my bulbs on Thursday because we had 70-degree weather, and I was like, fuck yeah. And today it's 30 and snowing.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 40, and we just dodged a chance of snow coming tomorrow, which is why I decided I'll do the front lawn stuff because it's not going to snow now. No.
Fucking April weather.
God, global warming, man. It's a myth, right? It's a myth.
Total myth. Total myth.
Last stuff I've been getting into is we had some company in from out of town who is very, very behind on the Marvel movies. So over the past couple days, we watched Civil War and Thor Ragnarok. And I love Thor Ragnarok to this day. In fact, on my phone now, I've now updated my notifications so that when I get a text message, it's Korg yelling, piss off Ghost.
Yay!
Nice. Piss off Ghost.
It's delightful. So that's what I've been getting into. It's really nothing too crazy or exciting because I've had to adult a lot and it's weird. Anthony, hopefully you've got some more exciting stuff than I did.
I don't know if it's exciting. Let's see. I took the win last week in the fantasy movie league, but it was only by a couple $1,000, so it didn't help much. Right now, I've got a $20 million lead on Lobster, so I'm going to catch him. I'm in first for this week, and looks like, let's see, Gotham City Cineplex is behind me by 3 million. A Quiet Place is doing really well, and then we got our first week scores for the final month of the fantasy movie league. Team Nerd Magic got me in third place for my division, the Danger Room. Not doing too bad. I got a solid team. I got Voodoo, the Nadia Wasp, Peter Parker, and Thor. So between those four, I'm pretty sure I should be able to get that 20 points every week. So if I can put together 80 points over the month, I think I'll be taking first and hopefully getting the first win in the Danger Room division, which I got the first monthly win, and I want to have the first season win. After that, I don't care who wins. But since I'm leading the division, I really want to be the first winner. So there's two other people that have a good chance. If I don't take first, it becomes a battle. If I take first, like there's nothing anybody can do. I'll outscore all the points. But if I don't get first, there's two people in my division that have a chance to fight me. So it's still iffy at this point. So I'm interested to see how the points are going to go for the rest of the week. I got caught up on a bunch of my shows. I totally watched all of Lost in Space yesterday. I just cranked through all freaking 10 episodes of it. It's really good. Even when you don't like Parker Posey, you still like Parker Posey because fucking Parker Posey is fantastic as an actress. She just is awesome. It starts off a little weird. They do that whole jump forward thing where like we're in the middle of an accident and shit's going wrong, and then we're gonna flash back and show you how all these people got to where they're at. Upside is it's not just like 4 people in a robot. They have, it's a whole giant colony ship that goes through an accident, and so you have a lot more characters involved than some of the old Lost in Space episodes. And the special effects of the planet they're on is really cool because most of the show takes place on one planet, and the robot is fantastic. Whichever special effects team did the robot, it is very cool. The design itself is really original, and the way it uses its powers are really they thought up a lot of different ways to change the story around and do stuff that you haven't seen. The weird thing is that having seen some of the old Lost in Space episodes, which I wasn't a huge fan of, this show is a lot more like Earth 2, which I don't know if any of you guys ever watched it on NBC.
Yeah,
where it's
I
just,
remember it.
Yeah, people stuck on a new planet trying to learn how to live, and this is kind of like that, except of course they're trying to eventually get out of there. And the way they end the first season is fantastic. Like it looks like it could be a really fun show for Netflix to run with for a while. And if they do, like it's going to be really interesting. The cast is there's some really good actors on it. In the first episode, I was like, I'm not sure about the kid that was playing Will. Like he seemed kind of whiny. But over the course of the show, like that kid's a pretty good actor for being like 8 years old. Like, I mean, he's a little kid. Like he does a good job. But yeah, it's worth checking out. Trying to think. I think I was pretty much interested from the first episode. So it's not like one of those slow burn ones because they start with the accident. They really have you invested from like the beginning of the show. So it's not one of those that you have to wait 4 episodes to actually care. So yeah, Lost in Space was good. And then let's see what there was something else on Netflix. Oh, I finished watching the first season of Bitten, which stupid werewolf show, but it's fun. It's entertaining. It's got a Supergirl from Smallville on it, Laura Vandervoort. So that was a fun one. Just a bunch of crazy werewolf dudes running around killing each other. And then I actually finally got a bunch of reading done. I had bought on the Comixology sale. Corey Andrews had gone back to Iron Fists, the one with the Iron Fist and the little girl who has the new Iron Fist logo. So I got that on the sale, but I didn't want to read it yet because I hadn't read his Iron Fist Living Weapon, where she gets introduced. So I went back and bought those 2 trades as well. So I read all 3. So I read through Iron Fist Living Weapon Volume 1, Volume 2, and Iron Fists. And those are some really good comics. It's one of the craziest stories I've ever read of Danny. And Corey Andros' artwork is just insane. The way he draws the Iron Fist in the first 2 volumes is just really cool. And then I decided I can't read just comics, and I'm in the middle of a biography right now, but I wanted to get some other fun stuff and start expanding my mind again. So I made it my goal to be able to explain the Summers family tree, which the only way I figure I could do that is to start learning astrophysics. So I got Astrophysics for People in a Hurry by Neil deGrasse Tyson. I started this one. And then I also got Cosmos by Carl Sagan and A Brief History of Time by Hawkins. So Yeah, I'm gonna actually read some smart kid stuff, or try to, anyways. The first 9 pages of this book goes through the first 1 second of the Big Bang, and it's one of the coolest fucking things I've ever read. The idea that during the Big Bang, the temperature of the exploding created universe was so high that it was making photons of light explode. Like that, just that concept blew my fucking mind. It was so hot that light was exploding. Like, damn.
That's cool.
So yeah, it's a really good book, and yeah, it's something I was reading it. I'm reading it at work on my breaks, and it's broken down. It's a small book in little tiny chapters, and it's only it's only like 200 pages altogether. So yeah, it seems like it's going to be a really fun one, but at the same time, yeah, it's Neil deGrasse Tyson trying to blow your mind. So yeah, I would highly recommend it. And I'm only 2 chapters in, so definitely go pick that up if you want to learn some more about the universe in which we all are stuck. But yeah, I think that's about it. Back to you, Chris.
Well, thank you. I'm glad we got a back to you put in this week because Willie isn't here. I mean, I guess we could say he's in spirit. I've got a button on the soundboard for him somewhere.
Uh-oh.
If we need it, I've got it. We'll see what happens.
Probably something insulting to me.
Shut up, Naki.
Exactly. Exactly.
Sorry, you just queued it up very well for me.
I understand. It's fine.
Looking at the time, though, it is time for us to start wrapping up this week's episode of the podcast. Don't forget that we stream live every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central over at Geeks.live, which is the streaming home of the Gonna Geek Network. Coming up later today, about a half hour from now as we're recording this, is Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. as they recap the most recent episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. 6 p.m. Eastern tonight is the Starling Tribune recapping the latest episode of Arrow. And then at 9 p.m. tonight, Pop Xcast. So it's a full schedule of things. Just head on over to geeks.live. You'll see the calendar at the bottom of the page that tells you when everything is streaming. As we shut things down, you guys have any final thoughts for us?
The new Agents of the S.H.I.E.L.D. was so good.
The bacon in my house is overtaking this office, and now I'm just like, I gotta go get that bacon out of the oven.
I'm starving. Damn you, Naki.
I am too. I love bacon.
It's been slow cooking since 9:30 this morning.
Then we're getting out of here to go get bacon. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this brand new episode of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast. Don't forget, we'll be back next Sunday live at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central over at live.atgnpodcast.com, channel 3 of the Alpha Geek radio app, and over at our network home at gonnageek.com/live. If you have any feedback for the show, please contact us atgnpodcast@gonnageek.com, on our hotline number at 304-806-ATGN, or even better, go to Twitter and send us a message at ATGN Podcast. The music you've heard in this show is produced by Kevin MacLeod and can be found at incompetech.com.